Welcome back to the channel. Something significant just shifted inside Nigerian politics. The African Democratic Congress has announced it is working towards adopting a consensus candidate for its 2027 presidential ticket. And the timing is not coincidence. It landed right on the heels of Rabi Musa Kwankwaso's formally joining the ADC on the 30th of March 2026. Put those two pieces together and the picture becomes very clear. But before we get to what that means for 2027, we need to understand why the ADC made this decision, because the reason go far deeper than political preference. Welcome to MARCELO'S desk, the platform exposing the stories others avoid. No bias, no fear, just facts and the questions others are not asking. The ADC consensus candidate announcement was confirmed by the party's National Publicity Secretary, Bolaji Abdullahi, in a live appearance on Arise TV on one-on-one program on Saturday, the 28th of March 2026. Reported by The Punch, The Legit NG, Nigerian Eye, Chronicle Nigeria, and The Pointer. Abdullahi said the party had narrowed its options to direct primaries or consensus, with indirect primaries removed entirely by the amended Electoral Act 2026. He made the party's preference crystal clear. He said they were trying as much as possible to adopt their consensus approach because it is the least costly option, and that engineering consensus is what the party is actively working towards. But cost alone does not explain this decision. The full explanation requires you to understand what INEC has put in front of every political party in Nigeria right now. Under Section 77 of the Electoral Act 2026, signed into law by President Tinubu in February 2026, all registered political parties are required to submit a comprehensive digital membership register to INEC by no later than 2nd of April, just 2 days from today. Section 77, subsection 7 is the part that makes this non-negotiable. Any party that fails to submit its register within the stipulated deadline shall not be eligible to field a candidate for that election. Not penalized, not warned, simply disqualified entirely. The ADC National Publicity Secretary Abdullahi called this a deliberately constructed barrier and described the timetable as booby-trapped against opposition parties. In a statement reported by Daily Trust, Daily Post, Business Day, and Politics Nigeria, his specific concern, documented and verified, is that the APC began building its digital membership register as far back as February 2025, a full year before the requirement became law. The ADC and every other opposition party received that same deadline with 1 month to comply. Arise News Politics editor Soma Sambo, speaking on Arise TV and reported by Daily Post, said the opposition parties were simply not vigilant while this legislation moved through National Assembly. He said, if you are serious about taking power in 2027, you must track every legislative move that affects your participation. That is a fair point, but the consequence is real. Party primaries under the INEC timetable are scheduled between April 23rd and May 30th, 2026. Organizing a full-blown primary exercise, delegate selection, venue logistics, accreditation, result management across Nigeria's complex geography, inside that, a compressed window, while simultaneously racing to comply a digitized nationwide membership register, is what ADC's own spokesperson described as a practical impossibility. Consensus is not just the preferred option. it is the only survivable one. Now, here is what political calculation becomes explosive, because the consensus method does not just solve an administrative problem, it solves the biggest strategic problem the opposition has had for years. In 2023, Tinubu won the presidential election with 8,794,726 votes, according to INEC official results. Atiku of the PDP received 6,984,520 votes. Peter Obi of the Labour Party received 6,101,533 votes. Kwankwaso of NMPP received 1,496,687 votes. The combined opposition total was 14,582,740 votes, nearly 6 million more than Tinubu's winning total. Former Senator Dino Melaye, speaking after Kwankwaso's ADC registration on Monday and reported by Whistler newspaper, put in the starkest terms possible. He said the combined opposition won in 24 states and the FCT in 2023. Tinubu won in 12. The arithmetic of a split opposition handed the APC a result the numbers did not support. A consensus ticket under the ADC eliminates the split. It brings those votes together on one ballot paper. That is not opinion, that is electoral mathematics. The geographic case for an Obi Kwankwaso ticket specifically is just as compelling. Obi's base is in the south, particularly the southeast, south-south, Lagos, and the educated urban youth population that mobilized in extraordinary number in 2023. Kwankwaso's base is in the north, centered on Kano, Nigeria's second most populous state, and extending through Katsina, Jigawa, and the surrounding northwest state through the disciplined Kwankwasia movement. As a political analyst quoted by Trumpet newspaper put it directly this week, the arithmetic is simple. If Kwankwaso delivers Kano, the ADC instantly becomes a national force. These two bases do not compete with each other. They complement each other with almost no geographic overlap. The Whistler newspaper, in an investigation into APC internal strategy published in January 2026, reported that the ruling party's own in-house analysts have modeled the combined Obi Kwankwaso's scenario and described it as a source of grave concern. APC strategists are reported to be particularly worried about the northeast and the northwest, where Atiku scored heavily, the southeast, where Obi won all 5 states, and the south-south, where Obi took 3 of states. A consensus ticket combining Obi's urban and southern strength with Kwankwaso's northern machinery leaves the ruling party in wars of that Whistler report, almost nowhere to hide. Arise News Politics editor Soma Sambo, quoted in a Sunday Vanguard investigation published this week, describes the Obasanjo-mediated push to bring Obi and Kwankwaso together as the last gift the former president thinks he can give to Nigeria's democratic process. The Obedient Movement coordinator, Yunusa Tanko, confirmed that talks between the two camps have been ongoing since 2023. And the Kwankwasia movement spokesperson, speaking to Daily Trust after the ADC registration, reported on the 30th of March 2026, said if this calculation and arrangement require Kwankwaso to go for president, he will. If it requires something else, that decision will be collective. That flexibility is exactly what the consensus is designed to protect. It removes the ego contest from the process. It puts the outcome ahead of the individual. Here is what Nigerians need to understand about this moment. The ADC did not arrive at the consensus decision because it is weak. It arrived there because the political and administrative realities of 2026 made it the only intelligent path available. The INEC deadline is real. The primary window is tight. The Electoral Act 2026 Section 77 is a genuine barrier that the ADC's own spokesperson described in writing as designed to serve Tinubu's self-succession project. Against that backdrop, consensus is not retreat, it is precision. The opposition that scattered in 2023 and gave Tinubu a result the numbers did not earn is now assembling around a structure, a method, a two complementary political force that cover every region of the country. Whether that assembly holds together is the question that the next several weeks will answer. The ADC primary window opens on April 23rd. The presidential election is on January 16, 2027. The clock is running. Tell us in the comment section, do you believe the Obi Kwankwaso ticket will hold together? Or will the usual Nigerian political fracture lines break it apart before it gets to the ballot? Subscribe and turn on the notifications. This story is moving fast and will be here every step of the way. This is MARCELO'S desk. We expose the stories others avoid. Until I see you in the next video, remain blessed.